On this next example, now we've got a 4 minus a difference. The difference is of x and 2 is greater than 3 minus 5. So we've got the same scenario we had before. We need to clear some parentheses. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this number that's between the minus sign and the parenthesis. Well, what number, you're probably saying? Well, we can always put a 1 between the minus sign and the parenthesis. And so that's the number, that negative 1, we need to distribute over that subtraction. And so when we do that, we still have this 4. We always need to make sure we bring things down. So we haven't dealt with that 4 yet. And again, we had to multiply because that's what order of operations says. When we're trying to simplify an expression, we need to follow order of operation. We need to multiply before we subtract. So we bring that 4 down. We're left with a minus 1x. And now it's a positive 2. That's where a big mistake is going to occur for most people. A negative times a negative makes a positive. And then from there we bring down the inequality sign. We do the subtraction, we get negative 2. So from this point, we can collect some like terms on the left-hand side. We've got a positive 4 here. We've got a positive 2. So since they're the same sign, we're going to add those two numbers together. So we go ahead and do that. We get a 6. Bring down the minus sign. We've got a 1x, or just x. And then we're going to bring down the inequality sign and the negative 2. So now we need to get rid of that 6. Because we want to bring the constants to one side of the inequality, variables to the other. So it's easiest for us just to subtract this 6 from both sides. And when we do that, we still have that negative 1x. And it's still greater than, now it's negative 8. And so from this point, now we need to get rid of that negative sign in front of the x. Now, another mistake people will make is because they subtracted, they'll think, oh, I need to switch that inequality sign around. But no, that's only when we multiply or divide. And that's what we're going to do here. See, whenever the x term is negative, the coefficient of x is negative, that's the number we're dividing by or multiplying by. So we're going to cancel out this negative 1 by multiplying, or dividing in this case, by negative 1. And when we do that, when we multiply or divide by a negative, like the examples I showed you in day 20, the bigger numbers become smaller, the smaller numbers become bigger. And that's why we switch that inequality sign around. So now it's x is less than positive 8. And so we go ahead and draw that number line, put the 8 in the center, the bigger numbers off to the right, and that would be 9, and the smaller number to the left, that would be 7. And then we go ahead and draw the circle on the 8 because it's not equal to 8, it's all the numbers that are smaller than, because the inequality sign points to the x. So x is smaller than 8, so smaller numbers are to the left. Less means left. Well, let's try one more here. Number 4, I promised you one with a fraction in it. So let's do that. Let's put 1/4 multiplied by a difference. The difference is of x and 10. So when you write that, whatever you say first goes first, second goes second. And then we'll use an inequality sign. How about greater than or equal to? And how about a 6 minus 4? So we want to get rid of that parenthesis. And we do that by the distributive property. However, if I use the distributive property, a 1/4 of 10 4 does not go into 10. So I'd end up with a fraction. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to collect these two terms right here, because I can do that to start with. And then I'm going to do something else to clear that fraction. So let's just bring down that 1/4 for now. And I'll go ahead and bring down the difference of x and 10. Bring down the inequality sign and subtract those two numbers. Now I have 2. Now I've made the problem a little bit easier. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the fraction. So I clear fractions when I end up having either more fractions or having to subtract or add numbers that are fractions. So the way we'll do that is we're going to multiply this entire equation here. This is all one number as well. See, it's 1/4 times this difference. So when I multiply by the denominator here, or in this case the reciprocal, the 4's cancel out. Now I don't need to multiply 4 by the x or 4 by the 10 because the 1/4 is being multiplied by it. And I just canceled out the 1/4. But if I do that to one side, I must do it to the other. And so now I've made the problem a whole lot easier. I have an x minus 10, and I don't even need the parentheses anymore because this is 1 now, and 1 times a number doesn't change anything. Now notice I multiplied by a positive, so that will not switch the inequality sign. And then from there, I just have a one-step equation. So I have to add 10 to all sides, and I'll have my answer. And so now, I still have x on the left-hand side, and it's still greater than or equal to because I did not multiply by a negative, I did not divide by a negative, and then I have my answer. X is greater than or equal to 18. So place 18 in the center, bigger number, 19 to the right, smaller number, 17 to the left. This time we have a closed circle because it's or equal to, and we have x is open towards the x, so x is greater than or equal to, or bigger than 18. So the bigger numbers are off to the right. And that's an example of problems that you'd see on day 21's homework, and I wish you luck.